Imagine you're just casually scrolling through your checking account, right? And you notice this random $17.50 fee just for having the account open. It's so annoying. But then you actually go into the bank, and the banker casually points out that because of the assets you hold with them, they can just, waive that fee. In fact, they give you this little nudge and say, hey, come back in a few months. I can waive these for you anytime under my discretion. Well, that was the exact moment the creator of our source material realized something absolutely fundamental. There are these distinct, undeniable milestones where institutions suddenly stop treating you like a generic account number and actually start treating you like a VIP. So welcome to this explainer. We're going to visually map out exactly how your net worth literally transforms the way the world interacts with you.
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? When do banks actually start caring about you? I mean, at what magic dollar amount do those incredibly frustrating automated 1-800 phone lines just disappear and get replaced by a direct line to someone who actually wants to hear from you? Okay, let's dive into this, because it turns out it's not just some gradual, slow shift. There are three very specific, distinct levels of wealth where financial institutions, everyday businesses, and even your own friends and family start treating you entirely differently.
So here is our level map for this explainer. We're going to start at level 1, the $100,000 net worth mark, where you gain basic credibility. Then level 2, $1 million. After that, we'll hit the boss level, level 3, $5 million, where the rules of money basically flip upside down. And finally, we'll wrap up with the true cost of wealth.
Section 1. Level 1. $100,000 net worth.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how hitting a six-figure net worth isn't just a huge personal achievement. It's actually the exact moment you transition from being nobody in the system to genuinely building institutional credibility. Basically, the moment your assets cross that $75,000 to $100,000 mark, this whole domino effect happens. Suddenly, you qualify for higher-end tiers of bank accounts. Big banks, places like Chase or Bank of America, they'll just start waiving those $20 to $35 monthly service fees. And sure, it's not exactly life-changing money, but it sends a super clear message. The bank values you now. Plus, because your net worth is a great proxy for your creditworthiness, you can stop hunting for good credit cards. Instead, premium offers like the MX Gold, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, or the Capital One Venture X, they just start showing up in your mailbox completely unsolicited.
And this credibility gives you incredible leverage at places you might not even expect. Take the car dealership, for example. At $100,000 in net worth, your credit profile is probably rock solid. And dealerships, they absolutely love this. They aren't disappearing into the back office for 40 minutes to figure out how to squeeze you into a deal. No, you get approved incredibly fast and you get way better rates. Dropping your interest rate on a standard $30,000 5-year auto loan from 7% down to 5%, that saves you roughly $2,000. Plus, the salespeople are just friendlier because they know you've got options and the leverage to just walk away if you want to.
Over in the wealth management space, this is the milestone that takes you from 0 to 1. Below $100,000, you're typically just funneled into those automated phone lines or cookie-cutter robo-advisors. But cross that threshold and boom, you unlock the personalized touch of an actual living, breathing human financial advisor. Now, just a quick word of caution here from our source. At exactly $100,000, your fees relative to your overall assets might still be a bit disproportionately high, and let's be real, you'll probably be one of the smallest portfolios in that advisor's book. But the big takeaway, you suddenly have their attention.
Of course, it's not just the giant institutions that notice all this. Your newfound financial confidence creates some very real social shifts, too. You aren't stressing over splitting the check at dinner anymore, and you're comfortably maxing out your Roth IRA. And because you clearly have your financial life together, you might naturally morph into the money person of your friend group. This transition is honestly incredibly revealing. It acts like a natural social filter. You'll see that friends who are secretly jealous of your success will often just quietly fade out of the picture, while the friends who are genuinely proud of you will draw a lot closer.
Section 2, Level 2, $1 million.
So while the shifts at level 1 can be kind of subtle, at our next stop, things become blatantly obvious. All those financial doors, they just swing wide open. The VIP treatment truly begins here. At $1 million in net worth, everyday standard banking is completely a thing of the past. You now enter the realm of private client programs. You aren't just getting a few simple fee waivers anymore. You are assigned a dedicated relationship banker. You get access to those beautiful fancy downtown branches, and you start getting invitations to exclusive client events and experiences. The bank desperately wants a long-term relationship with you because they see you're on a serious upward trajectory, and they are literally rolling out the red carpet to keep you loyal.
Let's revisit that car buying experience for a second. At this level, you might be bypassing the standard dealership entirely.
right? You're walking into a luxury dealer for a BMW, a Porsche, Mercedes, or Audi, and the experience completely transforms. First off, you can likely just buy the car in cash if you want to skip financing altogether. Second, the perks are vastly improved. We're talking free luxury loaner cars anytime you need a service. Our source noted a really stark contrast here. Pull up to a standard lot, and those aggressive salespeople are eyeing you from across the parking lot like prey. But at the luxury level, the environment is way less pushy. It offers a much more comfortable, dignified experience.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the balance of power shifts with financial advisors. Before, you were the one trying to find them. Now, they are actively hunting you down on LinkedIn. They'll offer you free portfolio reviews, take you out for a nice round of golf, or even buy you an expensive dinner just to get you in the door to pitch their services. And honestly, the math finally starts to make a lot of sense. Yes, a 1% fee on $1 million is $10,000 a year, but in exchange, they're coordinating directly with your CPA, they're handling your estate planning, and they're executing advanced tax strategies that ideally should save you way more than they actually cost.
But as you can probably guess, this $1 million milestone also introduces some brand new friction into your personal life. When you no longer have to sweat over a $1,000 emergency expense, or even glance at the prices on a dinner menu, a real gap can start forming in your social dynamics. Family members might start making some big assumptions about what you can afford. They might expect you to pay for things you never did before, or casually ask you to fund their new business ideas. If you aren't careful, it can be a pretty isolating transition to navigate.
Section 3, Level 3, $5 million.
All right, now we reach the final tier, the absolute boss level of our explainer. This is the point where the standard, everyday rules of money just evaporate entirely. At $5 million, regular banking completely transforms into full-blown lifestyle concierge services. Institutions like JP Morgan's private banking or Goldman Sachs' private wealth division, they aren't just holding onto your cash anymore. They're helping you hire luxury private jets. They're handling the secure vaulting of your fine art and collectibles. They will literally help you find a chief financial officer to manage the bookkeeping and payroll for your own personal household staff. At this level, you completely stop chasing opportunities. They literally start raining from the sky.
Let's move to and see how this builds, using Chase as a perfect visual representation of this escalating exclusivity. At $150,000, you're a Chase private client. Okay, nice. At $1 million, the branding shifts just slightly to JP Morgan private client. But at $5 to $10 million, it becomes JP Morgan private banking. Now, the names sound incredibly similar, right? But those tiny, subtle one-word shifts represent massive, unbelievable leaps in the level of service, the exclusivity, and the access you're granted. At this elite tier, the banks come to you.
And crucially, hitting $5 million actually legally changes what you are allowed to do with your money. You unlock what the SEC officially calls qualified purchaser status. This means you're legally allowed to invest in high-risk, highly exclusive vehicles that are entirely 100% off-limits to the general public. We are talking about elite private equity deals, top-tier hedge funds, venture capital, and pre-IPO tech investments. Even in real estate, you start getting quiet phone calls from brokers about off-market commercial properties and luxury homes way before they ever hit public sites like Zillow.
As you might expect, your social circle undergoes an extreme makeover at this level. You aren't just the money person who easily splits the dinner check anymore. Friends and even founders you barely know are actively coming to you to pitch their startup ideas. They're looking for $10,000 to $50,000 angel investing checks. You're suddenly getting invited to private, closed-door investor dinners, and you're being asked to sit on the boards of major charities. Your network drastically shifts as you begin associating with entirely different types of people, naturally pulling you into rooms you never, ever had access to before.
Section 4. The true cost of wealth.
So the crucial point is, hitting these milestones unlocks incredible financial leverage, awesome VIP perks, and legally exclusive investments. But what does all of this actually cost you emotionally and socially? Well, the true cost of extreme wealth is a pervasive, lingering sense of paranoia. As your net worth grows exponentially, it becomes increasingly difficult to figure out who genuinely cares about you versus who is only hanging around because of your bank account. Honestly, this is exactly why reality shows like For Love or Money or those endless gold digger prank videos get millions of views, right? They tap into a very real phenomenon. The ultra-wealthy are incredibly guarded about their inner circle, and they have very good reason to be.
It is absolutely vital to remember this quote from our source material. Money doesn't define your character. When you have a massive amount of it, it will invariably attract crowds of people who are just in it for the completely wrong reasons. The wealth might open every single door in the world, and sure, it'll waive every annoying bank fee out there, but it doesn't fundamentally make you a better person.
And it certainly, without a doubt, complicates the purity of human connection.
So, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on after this explainer wraps up. Knowing everything we've just visually mapped out today, the amazing perks, the unbelievable VIP treatment, but also that heavy social friction and the new expectations, if you were to hit that $5 million mark tomorrow, how would you handle your friends and family treating you differently? Would you be able to keep your circle perfectly intact, or would you find your world entirely changed? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.